All right, everybody's got their wine, everybody's set up on their mats. Okay, so come on down to Child's Pose to start, actually. So yeah, just get yourself into whatever Child's Pose that you like. If you're really wanting to work into the hips tonight, then a wide-legged or a wide-kneed one would be good, right? So just put your knees as wide as they can go, touch your toes together, and then walk your hands slowly down, one by one. You're just stepping your hands to the front and just releasing your chest and your forehead to the ground. And just coming down onto the mat and getting grounded in that Child's Pose. So we'll take about 5 deep breaths here and just let this moment be the time where you kind of breathe out all of the work stress of the day, anything you had to deal with today, appointments, traffic, grumpy bosses, whatever it was. Just kind of let's breathe that out right now. So as you're taking your 5 deep breaths, just think about kind of breathing in some peace and some light and some sanity, and then breathing out whatever went on during the day for you. My breaths tend to be quite long, so I'm just gonna do my length of breaths. So good, go ahead and just take nice deep breath in. And you can even sigh it out too. Another inhale through the nose. And exhale, just breathing it out through the mouth, letting it all go. Inhale, feeling the inhale filling up your upper back, and then even going way down into your waist and to your hips. And then breathing that out. Just another nice 2 deep breaths on your own time with peace and quiet. Just letting the day go. And then when you're done your last breath, come back up the way you went down. So walking your hands now, just a little teeny steps with your hands back towards your body, lifting you up nice and gently. And then when you get back up to the top, coming into Tabletop Pose. All right, so stacking your hips over your knees and your shoulders over your wrists. If your wrists are sore, you can make fists like I do. I make little fists on the mat instead of putting my hands out just on my palms, and that's just to help my wrists. And we're gonna do a version of cat-cow, but it's more of something that is gonna get into the hips. So we're going to inhale, and then when you're exhaling, you're gonna push your right hip to the right. We're basically gonna go in a circle. Exhaling back, almost back in Child's Pose. Exhaling still over to the left, pushing your hip out. And then inhaling, coming back up to the top. So we're just kind of like stirring a batch of cookies or something with our hips. And feeling that really nice opening into the side of the hips and the lower back. Inhaling at the top and exhaling as you make that circle back down. Now, if that doesn't feel good on your hips, I don't know what will. And then when you're ready, you can reverse the direction. So now you're pushing into your left hip, just pushing it out to the side. Exhaling back, pushing it out to the right. So you're stirring your cookie dough the other way now. And I say cookie dough because you want to go slowly, like you're pushing the cookie dough with your bum. Don't ask me where that came from. Yeah, so you're just going nice and slow. Let's do 2 more. Exhaling as you go back and inhaling as you're up front. Stretching out into those sore spots in the hips and the glutes. Good, and then when you're finished that, just come back to all fours. Just kind of a neutral all fours. And then we're going to get into our hips even more by doing some hip circles with our knees. I've done this before with you guys, so you're accustomed to this one. So taking your right knee, you're just going to lift it back, up, to the side, and then to the front. So just drawing circles with your knee, getting some movement into the joint, loosening the joint up. Making sure the rest of your body is stable and just that knee is drawing the circles. Everything else is just kind of staying in place. And then if it feels good, you can reverse. You can come back down a minute and you can reverse that circle if it feels good. If you feel any pinching or soreness, just make the circle smaller. Doesn't really matter how big the circle is. It's all about getting that movement in the hip joint. Okay, and then you can switch to the other side. And I know that like there's some differences between my right and left. So the left one is way less kind of mobile and flexible. So I'm just careful not to push it too far on the left-hand side. And then you can reverse that. Oh, I don't know if anyone else is hearing like clicking and clacking. I am. It's good though. Nothing too serious. Good. All right. Okay. Whew, another last crack there. So yeah, your hips should feel a little bit better already. We're going to now just transition onto our bums. So we're actually going to come on down to your back. Oh yeah, this one's really good. So come down on your back with your feet on the floor. We're gonna do a shoelace pose. So crossing the right leg over the left leg. And so you just kind of have crossed legs there. And then you're gonna bring your legs back to your chest, up to your chest. And if you can, you're gonna grab onto the outsides of your feet and then give your legs a little pull here. If that's hurting your knees, just let go of the feet and just grab the knees. You'll still be able to feel a really good stretch in your hips, even if you're just kind of pulling your knees back. And then breathing into your hips here. I like to hang on to the outside of my feet and push against my hands for an even deeper, intense stretch. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Your face is relaxed. You're breathing into that hip. Hips do so much for us. We should thank them. Good. Okay, now release your left foot down to the ground. And just bring that right foot to cross over the ankle at the knee. So now you're just kind of, you're not crossing your legs like a lady anymore. Now this is like pretty manly, right? So you guys think we're going to go into Recline Pigeon, but we're not. So lifting up that left knee. And then what I want you to do is just take that whole conglomeration and just let it fall over. Well, actually, engage your abs first. Engage your abs so you're not going to tweak anything. And then let that fall over to the left. So So you should feel a really good stretch and a really a good opening along the left side of your body and that left hip and glute. If you want to increase the stretch even more, take your left hand and put it onto your right foot and press down while you press out with your right hip. Just breathe into that, and then you can have your right arm stretching out to the side. Just feeling that opening in your whole right side body, even down to the armpit if you're stretching out your arm. One more really long, deep breath here. Good. I hope that feels good. That's like one of my favorite stretches for the IT band and the hips and the side. So let's do that on the other side now. So bringing your feet back up, both of them are on the mat now. And then we're just going to do the shoelace on the other side. So crossing your left leg over your right now, the lady cross. I know that's very sexist. I'm not being very progressive right now. And then bringing your knees up towards your chest. And if that's enough for you, that's fine. You can just lightly grab onto your knees. But if you feel that you can go a bit farther, then grabbing onto the outer edges of your feet. And breathing here. This is a pretty intense stretch, so make sure it feels good and doesn't feel tweaky, like you're gonna, injure your knee or something. Relaxing your shoulders onto the mat. Make sure they haven't come up beside your ears. And your face is relaxed as well. Okay, and now coming back down to the ground with your right foot, and then crossing your ankle over your right knee, left ankle over right knee. Doing the same thing on the other side. You can put your arms down just for stability along your sides, just your palms facing up. Tightening your core, bringing that right knee to your chest, or it's not going to come to your chest, but that way. And then dropping it over to the right now. And then just gently pressing on your left foot with your right hand. And you can kind of press your knee away, like towards the front of the mat for an even more intense stretch. And then if you want to feel this all the way up your side of your body, take your left hand and just reach it out to the side. You can even turn your neck to look at your left hand. Opening your hips and your waist, coming into your IT band. Feeling that really good release. One last breath here. And then just slowly come out of that. You don't want to abruptly come out of that because that's quite intense. What you can do is a few windshield wipers with your knees once you get situated back kind of in alignment. Just letting any tension out that has gathered from that really intense stretch. Good, and then we're going to come back up and transition onto our hands and knees again. We're just going back and forth. So just slowly come on up. However you want to get there. Doesn't have to look fancy. Just coming back into tabletop position. If you would like to tonight, we're going to push back into downward dog. Our first downward dog, so making sure your hands are just slightly in front of you. They're already pushing away from the mat, tucking your toes, and sending your hips way up to the sky. Now, if you're anything like me, your knees will be bent, and that's totally fine. Arms are straight and strong. The creases of your elbows are pointing to the front of the room. Release your neck and breathe here. This is a great pose to just unwind your neck from kind of sitting all day or driving, stuff like that. Good. You can take some movement. Like I'm just kind of just moving around, wagging my hips from side to side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our right foot. Actually, you know what? This is a little bit of a hard transition. So if you want, come on down to your knees first, and then swing your right foot right up outside of your right hand. We're going into lizard pose. Yeah, so your right foot is going to be on the outside of your mat, and then your right hand is going to be right next to it. And then taking your back knee and just bringing it kind of back on the mat for whatever feels good for you. And moving into this really deep, amazing hip opener. And it's not just the right hip, you know, you feel that in your groin and your hip and it's opening there, but it's also your left hip flexor and psoas muscle. And breathing here. Some people come down then to their, like they put their elbows on the mat. I can't do that. I stay up on my fingertips. And then if you want to increase the intensity of the pose and of the stretch, tuck your left toes under and straighten that leg back. So your knee will be off the floor. And then I want you to just make little tiny circles with your body. So you're just kind of, you're stirring again, but it's a really small movement. And if that's too much, just release that back knee down onto the ground. You're still getting a really deep stretch. And then if you want to take it one step further, bring your right hand and place it on the mat. And then your left hand is going to come back. You're going to bend your back knee. We're just going into that, the twist, a little bit of a twist here. So bend your back knee and then reach back with your right hand and see if you can gently touch your heel or even grab your heel. Some people, if you can't grab your heel, then just leave just kind of, you could maybe be like this, right? Or like this, or grab your back foot. And just breathe for a nice deep breath here. Feeling that opening in your chest. Lots of openings happening here, right? Really intense. Okay, good. So then let that back foot go. Bring your right hand down again to the mat. We're just trying to come out of this really slowly because it's such an intense stretch. And then however you can, bring your right foot back again and into tabletop. Oof. Wow, that right side. Now, if you want, come back down into child's pose for a rest or join me in downward dog right now. If you are in downward dog, just make sure your neck is relaxed and your shoulders are not up by your ears. And then we're just going to keep working on that right hip. So I want you to bring your leg back, up and back, and then pop it through to pigeon pose. If this hurts your knee, you can always do this on your back. So this right hip, we're really giving it a run for its money right now. We're like, you will release right hip. And then we'll do the sequence on the other side too, okay? So in your pigeon pose, you want to make sure first and foremost your knee feels okay. If it doesn't, just go on your back and do the other one. It's just as good. It's amazing. And then the other thing you want to do is make sure your hips are on the same plane and that they're level, and that your left hip isn't like popping out this way. It's not opening. And then you can stay right here if this is enough of a stretch, or you can come down, or maybe some of you have already just come down fully, and that's totally fine. Next level would be to come down on your elbows and your forearms. Breathing into that hip. Noticing that it might be kind of yelling at you a little bit. And the breathing will just help it to release. And then if you want to come all the way down with the forehead on the mat, or maybe make a little pillow with your hands, we'll do 3 more deep breaths here. If it's getting uncomfortable, just come on out and go into child's pose. So just letting the thoughts go and really giving yourself this time on the mat to just unwind. You don't have to think about anything. If you want, you can think to yourself, inhale and exhale, if that helps you to keep your mind from straying to thoughts. Or you can inhale, and then you can say to yourself as you're exhaling, here. Kind of like, I'm here. That really works for me. Okay, one more breath. And then if you're all the way down, just kind of get up in those same steps that we went down in. So first up to your elbows, and then walking up to your hands. And then what I'm going to get you to do is take your left leg and your foot and just swing it all. Take your right hand. So your right hand will be kind of like giving you some stability. Take your left foot and swing it all the way around to your right knee. We're going to go into, I think it's called half Lord of the Fish, Lord of the Half Fish. I don't know, it's a really weird name, this pose. So, and if this isn't comfortable for you, so this is a pretty intense twist. If it's not comfortable, you could just go with your legs crossed and do, the simple twist we always do at the beginning of class, or I like to do at the beginning of class. So anyways, that's an option for you. But if you're in this like pretzel-y thing here, make sure both of your sits bones are on the floor. And then what you're going to do is put your left hand and just place it on the back of the mat, just a couple inches from you. And then bringing your right arm and yearning it up to the sky. And then hugging it over onto your left knee. Great. Yeah, I can see you guys. You look good. And then as you breathe in, you can feel yourself get taller. And then as you breathe out, you might twist just like a micro, little tiny, like 1/4 of an inch more. And if you're not breathing here, come on out a bit, right? So don't, if you feel like your breath is getting shallow, that means come out of the pose a bit. Don't sacrifice breath for some, to get into the pose more. Okay, good. We can release that now. And then coming back into child's pose or downward dog. I usually get into downward dog just by like going on my hands and knees first. It's just so much more gentle. So that's what I've been doing lately. So back into downward dog, just like letting everything set and settle. Maybe feeling what the right side feels like as opposed to the left. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. So then we're going to go into a lizard on the other side. So if you want, come down to your knees first. It's just a little bit less crazy. And then take your left foot and bring it right next to your left hand on the outside of your mat, or just on the kind of edge of your mat. And then you gotta scoot your left knee back a bit, usually. Most people do. And we don't wanna just like dump into this pose, like get all like sloppy and stuff. The front foot is pressing into the mat, the back knee is also pressing in, right? So there's this strength. There's this strength, and there's also this release and this relaxation and this letting go. Yeah, it's such a cool kind of yin and yang, like you're strong, but you're also releasing. And then if you want to increase that intensity of that stretch, pop that back knee up, straighten that right leg, and then do your little circles if you like. If you don't like, then don't do it. You are the master of your body. Only you know what you're feeling like right now. I don't, right? So you listen to yourself. And just breathing into that. I think we should make a name for this lizard, like the dancing lizard or rocking lizard, or I don't know. Has to be something different. Okay, so then we are going to set that back knee down, and we are going to go into, I'm just gonna close something out there. Perfect. Okay. And then, yeah, you guys know where we're going. We're going to do that quad stretch on the right side and that twist if you're up for it. I mean, the first step even is just bringing that heel towards your bum, the right heel towards your bum. And even that, you can start to feel like, right, like a really intense stretch in the hip flexor and the psoas and the quad. So, and if you feel like you are still breathing really deeply and you want to go into that even more, then just grab onto the heel. So you're opening up in your chest, opening up your hip flexor and your quad on the right side, and then still getting into that left hip. Oh, I love this pose. And if it's just too much, then you don't have to love it. And if you hate it, that's okay too. Just give yourself another breath and modify if you want. Okay, good. So let that back foot go if you had it up. Left hand comes down to the mat again. And then pushing back, oh gosh, into child's pose or downward dog, whatever you prefer. I'm going to go into downward dog because most of this routine is done seated. So this is my little strengthener for the night to go into downward dog. Okay, and then you know where we're going. We're going to pigeon on the other side. So whether you're on your knees or in downward dog, you can still lift up that left, I just kicked my counter, that left foot, and then bring it right through in between your hands. And then kind of wiggle around to what feels okay for your body. And then if it doesn't, just go ahead onto your back in the recline pigeon. And I know you guys all know how to do that. And then once you're all like settled in and your hips feel like they are level, then you can go down onto your elbows. And then just remember breathing here, saying I love you to the left hip. And if you want, you can bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. I like to make a pillow with my hands. Inhale and exhale here. And when your thoughts float away to something else, you can just bring them back. Two more deep breaths here. All right, walking back up, nice and slow. And then left hand just comes to the side of your mat and your right leg swings around. Whoa! Your foot is by your left knee and you're in your little pretzel shape. And if you're not in your pretzel shape, then just go to cross-legged position. And then taking your right hand and bringing it kind of just right behind you a couple inches so you have that stability. And you're not leaning into that hand, right? You're just using it for balance. And then left hand comes on up, reach, reach, reach up, grow tall. And then twist to your right, hugging in your knee. You might even feel this stretch in the hip as well, right? So this is like a twist for digestion and detox and your thoracic spine, but you can probably also feel maybe a stretch in the right hip as well. And inhaling, growing tall, and exhaling, looking behind you if you want. Again, make sure you're breathing. Yoga is the breathing. The poses are just kind of, fun to do. And then releasing out of that. Let's bring our legs out in front of us and just give them a little wiggle, side to side. The hips should be feeling really good. They might actually, they might be feeling a little sore too because we just really worked into the fascia and stuff. So when you get like a really good massage, it feels good, but it might be a bit sore too. I'm just gonna look to see how much time we have left and then plan from there. Okay. So I hope that was okay for you guys. That was an interesting one, doing everything on the floor and not really coming up and doing a lot of standing poses. But I think sometimes, just really focusing on the hips and staying down on the mat is okay too. Okay, so we're gonna go into a boat pose for Vero. And then if the video cuts off, I'm gonna get you guys to just do your own Shavasana, okay? So let's do boat, because we have just a couple minutes. I know you guys know how to get into boat, but just remember, you're keeping your chest lifted, your spine is long, crown is lifted, and then if you want, you're going to lift one leg off the floor, then the other, and then maybe you're gonna hold the backs of your legs, maybe you're gonna bring your arms out. Let's take 10 breaths here. If you get sore, come on down for a break. I'm just gonna try to challenge us here. That's 4. I'm shaking. Okay, I might only make it to 5. Oh, coming down for a break. And I'm gonna go back and try to do 5 more breaths in boat. And then the video is gonna cut off, but I'll then have you guys just come on down and please do a couple minute Shavasana. Please do that because that's how your body really can integrate all of the work we just did, okay? So don't miss that even though the video is gonna probably stop. All right. Selena was already doing boat for 3 breaths. Yes, feel your abs working, you guys. Yeah, and your back is straight, chest is lifted. 3. Hold, hold, hold. Shaking, shaking is good. 1 more. And release. Whew. Oh, wow. All right. So coming back down onto your mat and just stretch your feet out and your legs out as long as they can go. And your hands, you can stretch them out to the side, in a T. Just whatever position feels like total surrender and release to you. And then I'm going to have you take a couple deep breaths here. then just be totally still. Just for a minute. And when you're ready, take a deep breath and stretch your arms above your head. That feels good. And then come on over, roll to your side. And then when you're ready, just push yourself on up. Good. And we'll just take a moment to thank ourselves for being here, for doing this practice, for giving our hips some love, much needed attention. And then what we'll do is we'll just take a namaste. Namaste, yogis.